Hey there, welcome back to my garden. Today we're starting off inside the house because I feel like the view from inside looking out gives you a really good, a little bit better idea of why I'm so motivated to do the project that I'm doing today. So we've talked a lot about the importance that I personally put on the view that I have from inside my house out. You know, there's certain windows that I spend a lot more time by, and the view from that window out to my garden really especially matters to me. You know, such as the counter in my bathroom where I do my makeup, where I dry my hair, where I do my hair. I'm looking out that window for maybe 20, 25 minutes in a chunk of time. So that view really, really matters to me. There's other views that I walk past the window, I see them, I want them to look nice, but they're not things that I totally kind of fixate on. So today, right now, we're sitting in our dining room, which also doubles as our homeschool room. I homeschool my boys. We spend a lot of time in this room, consequently looking out the window that's right here to my left. And so the view out this window really matters. We're also going to look out the view in my kitchen because, obviously I spend a bit of time at my kitchen sink, washing dishes, washing eggs, preparing stuff, what have you. So that view also really matters. So let me show you out this window what I'm talking about and what we are going to be working on today. Okay, so here's the view of this window. And you can see probably what I'm talking about. So this is a window box that's just outside of these two windows that look out onto our driveway. And you can see that these plants are not looking fabulous. These are ones that we planted in a couple months ago now. There's some Calibrachoas in there. There's some Nemesia in there. And this area, this window box kind of started to go downhill. I don't know, a few weeks ago maybe. And I started thinking that maybe it would be time to, spruce it up, especially now that school has started. I'm gonna scoot back here so you can see. This is where I typically sit. This is the view that I have. Lots of brown out there, lots of kind of greenish hues from the goat's pen. But this window box is something that generally brings me a lot of color, a lot of joy to look out these windows. And clearly right now it's not. I think that some of these things got spider mites. Open up the window so we can see better. I think some of these in the Nemesia got spider mites. You can see the dappledness on the leaves of the Nemesia right here. So, admittedly, like I said, once these kind of started going downhill, I kind of stopped nurturing them as much. I wasn't watering them as much. So consequently, they're not looking as great. But I was excited to start thinking about what I wanted to change them out for. Because as difficult as these window boxes are to plant up because of the position of them, I do love, as you've seen recently, I do love designing containers and making the plant combinations and stuff like that. So I started thinking about it, started getting excited about it, and now I have some beautiful things to plant into these window boxes. But let me show you really quick in our kitchen what I see from my kitchen window, and you can see kind of how that window box is doing similar to this one. Okay, so out our kitchen window, as you can see, this is my view out the kitchen window. A little bit blocked by the by all the little vehicles out there, but generally, I can see that pretty garden out there. I can see my little raised beds out there. So I do love that view. But then right here, a little bit closer, you can see the window box. Not looking fantastic. Again, I think this Nemesia also got spider mites. I can open up this window so we can see a little bit better. You can see, so that is just not a view that I really want to be looking at out this window. I could just potentially pull all the plants out and just have it empty for the winter, but that's not really fun either if I can find better options. So let's head outside now and I will show you the beautiful plants that I've collected over the last couple trips that I've had out and about, collecting the plants that we are going to be putting into these window boxes. Okay, so from outside, they're not as bad. There's a little bit of color on them still spilling over. And I mean, usually that's a nice aspect of window boxes, is to be able to see the flowers spilling over the edges of them, giving that kind of vertical interest to your planting beds. But like I showed you from inside, Toby. Oh, that is why these hydrangeas have a hard time. He lays right in here on them, and that does not work well for the hydrangea roots. But anyways, yeah, so, but also the color of these is a little bit off. You can see there's a little bit of pink down there peeking around the corner down there on the left, but for the most part, my gardens are a lot of the more richer colors right now with the rich burgundies of the barberries and greens and whites and stuff like that. So the color of these are the pink lemonade calibrachoas. The color is a little bit off for me now. So I'm really excited to show you guys this beautiful combination of little different plantings for me for in window boxes, but I just absolutely love what this collection is looking like. So as you can see, there are some little bitty ornamental kales. I have two different varieties. This one has a little bit more of a rounded edge, and then this one right here, actually, these vinca aren't going into those. These vincas are going into the baskets or the boxes on the front porch because I felt like they needed another little trailer. But so anyway, so I have these ones, these kale right here that have a little bit of the more curved leaves, and then these ones over here that are a little bit more jagged, and then also these sweet violas. I was originally thinking that I would be putting just violas and pansies in here in these window boxes because I really kind of wanted them to have just high floral impact in these boxes all season long. But the gal that I get them from, usually out of S&K Nursery, she told me she wasn't growing pansies and violas for the fall this year. So I had to just go to a different place, and this is what they had in a color that I was interested in. So I think there's maybe 11 here. And so obviously I had to have other interest in the boxes as well. So I have some Dusty Miller. This variety, I like it because it has a little bit more of a texture to it. Silver Dust is this variety. This is just kind of going to be a backside of the window box element, and then obviously these beautiful heuchera. So these are the heuchera that we also got for the window box, or I keep calling them window boxes, the containers that are on the front porch. This is the grape punch variety, grape soda variety. They just kind of stay little. Looks like it says 3 inches, but I'm pretty sure it's 8 inches. But anyway, grape soda coral bells. These are evergreen for me. They'll pretty much stay looking like this all throughout the winter into the spring, and then I will be able to transplant them out into the garden if I take good care of them in the window boxes over the winter, if I continue to water them really well. So those are basically going to be the elements that we're going to be putting into the window boxes. I'm going to just lay them out, get a feel for the pattern that I want to go with in the window boxes. They'll obviously be a little bit different, just because this one is a little bit longer than the one that's over there. So they might not be exactly the same, but they will definitely coordinate, and they will definitely, tie in together with each other. So when we're all done, I want to be able to kind of show you guys the progression of the view from our side patio that looks down. You can see the window boxes, and you can see down to the side garden along the driveway, because I think just the colors just continue on and just complement each other really well between the window boxes and what's going on down the way. So I'm going to get started on just cleaning out the window boxes, get everything out. I have new soil I'm going to be putting in because of the spider mite issue that was in those. And then we will get them planted up with these plantings that should look beautiful in the fall all the way through the winter into the spring. cleaned out of the 2 window boxes. I did leave a little bit of soil in there on the bottom after I took out all the roots, really broke up the soil the best I could just to make sure that there was nothing super, super compacted on the bottom. Took out a lot. There was actually a lot of termites in the one that was next to our kitchen window. So I took that one down to hardly any soil at all in the bottom. That was also the one that had most of what I could see as far as the spider mites go. And so took out most of that soil, and then I watered it. I cleaned off the containers, watered the soil really well because that soil was so dry that I was concerned that it was maybe a little bit hydrophobic to where it wouldn't actually hold in any moisture and you know, give the plants then a chance to even be able to soak in water once I actually start watering the containers. So soaked the soil really well, and then actually the one on the living room, or the dining room rather, I thought I soaked it well. I went up there, I stirred it with the shovel, and it was still completely dry. It was so crazy. So stirred that again, re-wet it. Now it is nice and dry. So I just had to stop to help my husband unload some firewood. Now I do have to finish up for just a little bit, go to a baby shower, and then we're going to finish actually planting these a little bit later. But I wanted to try to just lay these out and just get an idea of how we're going to actually put them into the containers and see maybe I can get a little bit done before I have to leave. So just set up the camera and we're going to talk through the organization of the plants, how I'm thinking I'm going to be putting them in, and then we'll just go from there. This is what we're going to go with as far as the little one goes, but I'll have to obviously set up the larger one first to make sure that that we have the right numbers of the different plants and stuff. But also my goal with these, I think as I was, designing this in my head, was that I wanted it to be cute. Obviously, like I showed you, at the beginning of the video, I wanted to be cute from the inside of the house too. So that's kind of why I was going to be tucking these cabbages back towards the back. I think that they're really a sweet, I don't know, almost like architectural. I just feel like they're artwork. I just think that they're absolutely so beautiful with the colors and the different textures of the leaves. So I was happy to have those ones as well as the heuchera just kind of pushed back towards the back so that I can see those nice and easily from inside the house. And then the violas will just be towards the front, kind of spilling out. I intend when I plant them to try to kind of plant them a little bit, on their side so that they try to spill out a little bit more. These shouldn't get too tall, 6 to 8 inches tall. So I don't know. I hope that they don't get too tall in the front, but even if they do, then I'll be able to see them even better from inside because they'll be kind of a background plant from my perspective from inside the house. So that wouldn't be the worst thing, but not ideal from outside of the house. So we have those ones set up, and then I have these ones over here to work with, but I am just going to have to take a brief pause as I go to this baby shower for a dear friend of mine who's actually adopting a little guy. So we are going to go celebrate her for a little bit, and then I will be back and we will set up the next window box. We will get them planted and we will see the finished product. So I will see you back here in just a minute. Hey there, I am back from my baby shower that I just went to. It was an amazing event. It was a real blessing to be a part of. Really, really wonderful celebration. So I'm back now. We just finished dinner and I'm going to try to get these 2 containers potted up before the sun goes down because it is rapidly descending, and but I just really want to get these containers done. So we set out the plants for the little container, and I think I'm going to go ahead and set out the ones for the long one just so that I can have an idea of what order the plants are going to go in. So I'm going to do that really quick, and then we're just going to get these guys in and try to button up this project before the sun is down. So this is where I'm at right now with these. I think this is a good place to start. I just kind of wanted to know basically that I knew what numbers I had, but I wanted to make sure that I could know which ones were in the center, what was the center point of my container, and then I would just work my way out from there. So So you can see every other one is the viola and then the cabbage in the front, and right in the center we have the cabbage right here in the center, and then we have the Dusty Miller. So I think this is a good layout to start with. I'm just gonna go ahead and take these up. I'm gonna go from inside the house as I plant these in because that's a lot easier. So I'll just take these in, and we are gonna get these into the larger container, and then we'll do the small one. To show you guys adequately the plantings in these window boxes. And I kind of stubbornly pushed through in planting them, even though it wasn't the best light to be doing that. I was really so excited to get the planting finished, and so that I could wake up this morning and see the beautiful plants, this plant combination in these window boxes as I looked out my window. So we're starting back here in the kitchen so that I can show you the view out the window, and then we'll go look out the view of the living or the dining room window, and then we'll head outside and I'll show you a little bit more up close these plants that we put into the containers last night. So here we are looking out the kitchen window, and it's just so sweet. So much better than what it was yesterday. I just absolutely love these colors. I love the violas that are peeking out on the outside. If you can just remember yesterday what we were seeing when we were looking out these windows with the kind of, I don't know, browned out Nemesia and the little spindly bits of the Calibrachoa, this looks much better. Obviously I have to deal with that Japanese maple out there. That's not looking the best, but window boxes are definitely an improvement. So now we're walking into our dining room, and let me show you what these ones look like. Okay, so like I said, this is our dining room. Let me back up just a smidge. So this is the window that the window box is on. looks out over our driveway, which is otherwise rather boring looking. And this is what we see out of this window. You can just see, look at the freshness, the sweet fall, kind of rich but soothing colors. I just love it. So I had a little corner back here, and I just tucked in that little ornamental kale. You can see the repetitiveness of the heuchera and the Dusty Miller, and then in front of that, which you can't really see from inside the house, but there's the ornamental kale on the front with the violas. And even just the view down, as you can see back there, the Mini Vista Indigo and the hydrangeas, and also the barberries that are in the garden that are down below this. The color combination, it makes me happy. It works well together, and like I said, it's very soothing to my eye. So now we're gonna head outside and I will show you the view that we see from the driveway of these boxes. All right, so here we are on the side patio now, and you can see obviously they are so much cleaner looking than what they were yesterday when we started this project. Obviously pulled out all of the plants, cleaned out most of the soil, cleaned off the boxes. Yeah, this Japanese maple is really kind of throwing off the vibe. I probably need to move that. It looks like it's dead. My husband was telling me that he was thinking it was dead, but there is new growth coming out inside there. These leaves have just really browned out, which is pretty typical this time of the year for us with Japanese maples. The bottom is still looking pretty good. There's a Lakotha down there in the bottom sitting in its container waiting to be planted out somewhere. But anyway, the spent leaves on that are kind of ruining the vibe. But anyway, these containers look so sweet. I just absolutely love violas. I love their sweet little faces. These do have the potential to go to seed and naturalize kind of around in the area here in my zone 8B. So I have to be a little bit aware of that. I am constantly kind of pulling out violas from around the garden, but that's okay. It's a small price to pay for the sweetness that they provide for a fall through the winter into the spring container. So you can see just peeking out in between there are the ornamental kale, and I really like the combination of this color within the kale with the heuchera, and then also it's very similar to what's in the center of the violas. I just love this combination. I just think it's very, very sweet. Again, very soothing, very clean, very compact, perfect to me for the fall and for me to look out to in the winter time. So as we're coming out in here onto the patio, I wanted to show you guys too the color combination of this container that we just planted up recently on the side patio container with the vincas and the heuchera in this one, as well as some euonymus and another, I can't recall the name of that one in the back, but the silvery foliage. It just also really ties in to what we see over here in the containers. A lot of repeated color elements between the heucheras and obviously, like I said, the Dusty Miller. It just ties together really well, and I appreciate that cohesiveness. So now let's look over here to this one. Also, just more of the same, more of the heuchera, which I just think is very sweet pop of color in the middle. It's a reddish, purplish, kind of burgundy color, which I really enjoy because as I look down here on the driveway, you can see that same color repeated down there with the barberries all the way down to the very end. Even down there, you can see the Dusty Miller, which is another element that we have in here. And there's the purple, which is down here in the Mini Vista Violet or Mini Vista Indigos. And I don't know how long those will continue to bloom for me, probably after our first frost, I imagine. So that color combines really well with the violas that are in there. So I kind of sometimes, well, I often wish that containers would just stay as they are when I first plant them up. I think they look so neat and tidy. Of course, these things will grow and eventually kind of, I don't know, fill in the container a little bit more. And hopefully by then they'll be ready to be moved out into the garden, as the heuchera, the Dusty Miller, not the kales, but the heuchera and the Dusty Miller can go out into the garden probably next spring if they're still looking okay. We'll see. The Dusty Miller is such a nice filler. It is so inexpensive. I think each of those containers were maybe $1.50. Same with the violas. The ornamental kales were, I think, $1.75. The heucheras were a little bit more, but those are, like I said, those are actually an evergreen, so those are an okay investment. But really pretty inexpensive plantings for these window boxes. And I don't know, they just bring me a lot of joy. I get to see them a lot from inside the windows. And so that makes me really happy. Glad to have this project buttoned up. It took me a little bit between the interruptions yesterday. I'm doing firewood, heading to the baby shower, then the light leaving so early now. It's just crazy. As we move into fall, it was too dark by probably 7:30 for me to be out here working, which was crazy to me. But anyway, we got it done. Hopefully this video comes together for you. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing these containers once again. This is, I don't know how many times we planted these up, but you know, we'll continue to. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing these ones come together, and hopefully maybe it'll inspire you for a color combination or a plant combination that you might not have thought of. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.